Gears of War Reloaded on Steam Deck, so Gears of War now on PlayStation, Xbox and PC, which is weird to say. On Steam Deck, it's actually verified from day one, which is awesome to see. I haven't launched the game yet, and I wanna thank Xbox for providing a code of the game. If you have Windows, this game is also available on Game Pass with your subscription. So let's launch it for the first time and see what happens. Alright, so as soon as we launch the game, we get to choose HDR if you have a Steam Deck OLED, otherwise ignore this. Since this game is verified, I usually like showing default settings. By default it's at 800p, which is good to see. Then on graphics, medium settings is the default, and we got FSR balanced on medium textures, 4 times isotropic, medium shadows, performance ambient occlusion, no motion blur, visual effects on medium, no reflections, and flash reduction is something that I enabled myself. Alright, welcome to Gears of War Reloaded. Remember that this is the very beginning of the game. I'm going to get into more demanding stuff in a moment. First impressions are good, 60 frames, over 60 frames actually. Let's go combat right away. Okay, I gotta say the game looks pretty damn good considering it's UE3. The art style does a lot of the heavy lifting, but I'm noticing also the better models and lighting. We got one way to play this game on Steam Deck, was the original version of the game that was... It released back then when the original came out on PC. It was a Games for Windows Live game. It's basically lost. You got to go sail the high seas to play it. And getting it to work on Linux, it's a pain in the ass, but you can do it. The thing is, this has way better visuals and quality of life improvements, at least when it comes to the PC version. And of course, performance will be worse than that version, because this has a lot of graphical updates. But in essence, it's the same engine. We also got the Ultimate Edition when the Xbox One came out. That was also Unreal Engine 3, but ran like absolute garbage and was a terrible PC port. This seems to be going in a different direction, in a good way. Alright, so we're now getting into the Trial by Fire section, which I used this to test the game. Yeah, back then, even when we got that horrible port edition.
Get up those stairs.
And usually this part was heavily CPU limited, at least for me. But one thing that I'm noticing right away is that when it drops the frame rate suddenly with an explosion or something, we're getting audio crackling. The audio quality drops like a rock for some reason. I'm noticing there's also some CPU limitation here and there, that the CPU gets maxed out. But overall, it runs very, very well, which, I mean, should be expected considering it's Unreal Engine 3, but considering how the Ultimate Edition was back when the Xbox One released and this got ported to PC, it ran like absolute dog shit in comparison. So this is so much better, but again, as you can see when I'm traversing through areas, this is very reminiscent of UE4 and 5 with a traversal stutter. We get a spike in CPU usage, and then it goes back down and we're good. So while the default settings are okay, in my opinion, I think there are some tweaks that we can do. First of all, there's nothing other than FSR and FXAA. You can also disable anti-aliasing entirely, which is good to see. By default, it's unbalanced. I think we should be able to crank this up to quality to get a little bit more pixel count. Texture quality on high, which should be fine. Anisotropic filtering 16 times. Medium shadows, I think they're good enough. Ambient occlusion, let's put it on quality. Motion blur, not a fan, so I'm ignoring it, but if you like it, you can enable it. In this game, it's very aggressive. Visual effects quality, medium is good. Screen space reflections, medium. And flash reduction, if you don't like flashing effects on your screen, you can enable that as well. Maybe it helps you. And I'd say maybe this time let's try native. Native will be interesting, I changed my mind. So we can maybe do a 40 FPS thing with better visuals. Alright, so now we got that 40 FPS target. You can also do this on the LCD Steam Deck. And this will give you lower GPU usage, lower CPU usage, all that jazz, so you get more battery life, less power, basically. Still not perfect when it comes to frame time. As you can see, the CPU spikes to 100% when traversing areas. But hey, there you go, you can do native. We're using actually native with FSR 3 as 3.1 as anti-aliasing. This is like using DLAA as an example if you're using DLSS on PC. But again, there's some audio crackling going on. Not sure how to fix that. If I know more about this, I'll let you know in the pinned comment. But feels weird to have an issue like that. Maybe it's just a bug, who knows. Definitely see significantly better resolution. I mean, yeah, we went from balanced upscaling to native resolution. But of course, that sacrifices the frame rate. Instead of being into the 50s and 60s, we get into the 40s. But that's okay, I think for a smaller device, 40s is okay. But again, I've been using 40s for a while, at least on Steam Deck. I always found it very solid, especially in comparison to 30 FPS. Let's be honest here, 30 FPS versus 40, if you ever tried it, is 33.3 milliseconds to 25. And if you want a more stable 40, you can just go and put quality upscaling. Quality still looks pretty good in my opinion. And the 40 FPS will be more solid, or you can change it to 45. And there you go, 45 FPS with quality upscaling. And this should give you even a bit more responsiveness than 40. But this means quality upscaling, so it's not 100% native. There is some, how to say, some grayness to some edges, but on the smaller screen it's less noticeable. I mean, we've been playing UE5 games that force you to basically play on performance upscaling, that is 400p. So sacrificing some resolution for 45 FPS while keeping very good visuals, at least in my opinion, decent shadows, reflections, and all that stuff, and better textures than the ones the game offers by default. I think this is how I would play the game personally. We're also going to try the 60s, so don't worry, I got you covered. But let's go. Also, of course, in later parts of the game there will be more enemies and more stuff on screen. I want to get there, but you cannot always have time to do all of it. But the beginning of this level was pretty difficult to run, at least for me. So that's why I'm showing you this. Promise the 60 FPS target. I lowered some things, balanced upscaling. Yeah, unfortunately, some extra sacrifice to the resolution. High textures is fine, we have enough memory, medium shadows, performance ambient occlusion, low reflections, low visual effects, and flash reduction, just personal preference. So let's continue. Ooh, that's smooth as butter. Holy hell, I love 60 frames. Of course, it means some blurriness to the image, but again, on a small screen, I think it's okay. And it's a sacrifice I'm willing to do for 60 frames. The extra responsiveness is noticeable. So yeah, I'd say the thing is, if you are going to go for better visuals, 40 or 45, I think is more than enough for a smaller screen, but man, I love 60 frames so much. I love it. And in a smaller screen, it feels even smoother than a big screen. That's why 40 and 45 on small screens looks so good, in my opinion. But again, the issue of maintaining 60s is that the game often has 100% CPU usage for a second, similar to the traversal stutters in UE4 and 5. And again, a big spike in CPU usage, GPU usage drops significantly, because only 15 watts. And well, there you go. There are some drops here and there. Seems to be unavoidable so far. Which is unfortunate, but I don't think it breaks the game. It's not like UE4 stutter or UE5 stutter that destroys the gameplay. Here I'd say it's tolerable. I wish it was a completely smooth line, but oh well. At least the actual well, the actual Ultimate Edition had way more stutter and was locked to 30 FPS. So it's an improvement, but I wish it was 100% perfect. I still think the verification is completely fine. I think it's insanely verified, I would say. The scalability is there, and you can choose from a good amount of settings that actually make a difference in performance. So I think the game feels pretty solid on Steam Deck. I think it's completely fine to have a verified mark. The only thing, again, that bothers me is the audio crackling that I'm getting. I'm not sure if that's a Proton thing that Valve can fix, or something to do with the game that needs to be patched. See, here should drop. Yeah, the CPU usage goes higher, but as soon as you aim down sights, it's okay. Yeah, some drops into the 50s, no big deal. But after that, again, pretty solid, except for those stutters that happen when traversing, like here.
Okay, man.
Oh,
Here we go.
okay, they're smaller than before.
I guess we'll find out, huh?
But again, it happens. I don't think it destroys the game again. But I think it's more than enough for it to be verified. Solid game, I'm happy they stayed on UE3, the game still looks fantastic. And performance is good. So I think the upgrades they did to the graphics are completely fine. And also I forgot to mention, you can also play co-op, no problem. Then you have multiplayer, so beautiful. I'm not used to seeing multiplayer in older games like this coming back. Multiplayer, I'm already seeing way less GPU usage. It looks gorgeous, I gotta say, this map. Yeah, it's pretty damn solid. But as you can probably notice, less FPS drops than in single player, obviously. Less taxing stuff on screen. And there's only other players, there's no AI going on, no big visceral moments like in the campaign. So yeah, performance, I would say, again, insanely verified. That means, at least in my book, it's verified, but it actually works correctly and it's pretty solid when it comes to performance. So in my opinion, that's a great thing. 2 kills! I'm so good at this! As for this one, personally, is 45 FPS. You get quality upscaling, that looks fine. You don't have to drop the resolution as hard. You can also do native at 40 FPS if you rather have that with good visuals. And well, the game works properly. I didn't have to do any tweaks if I wanted a decent experience by default. The thing that bothers me is that, well, there's audio crackling that I'm not sure why that happens, but it happens pretty often, so it's pretty noticeable. I would personally focus on fixing that if I was the developer, because the audio crackling is very, very obvious. That, pretty solid, I highly recommend it. Yep, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below.